Hey, I'm Tyler Boronski. You're watching my YouTube channel where I'm sitting down with recognizable faces in entertainment and the digital space. Jay's guest, he's leveraged his social media following with over 2.2 million followers on TikTok to pursue his music career. Also just recently named a featured creator for the popular social media event Playlist Live Orlando. And he's from Boston originally, so he's a Boston guy near and dear to my heart. He is best known as Sevryn on the internet and to all of you guys. So Sevryn, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Glad to have you on. So, I mean, music kind of runs in your blood, in your family, with your dad growing up a musician. What are some of your earliest memories of, just being with him and around music growing up?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with my dad being the professional musician he's a lead guitarist, and he also sings. But I remember I would come home from school and this guy would just be sitting on his bed, rehearsing whether he's got practice that night, a show coming up. I was heavily involved just being around that, a guitar in my ear all the time. And his mother was a professional pianist, so if I was staying at my grandparents that weekend, there was a piano around me, and my dad's bandmates are like my uncles, so there was drummers, there was guitarists, bassists, anywhere I turned, there was music in my ear. So I was just happy to be around it.
Awesome, man. You're doing it now yourself, full time. Let's talk the music making process for you, and we'll use your song I'm Alright as an example. What comes first, the beat or the lyrics? What was the case in that situation?
I was writing the instrumental with my producer at the time. I had a concept of a song I wanted to do. A lot of people don't know that chorus is kind of like a conversation between two people, I'm all right, I'm okay, I'm fine till I see your face, and I don't mind, It's kind of like a back and forth thing that I never really explained, but music is art and I leave it up for interpretation. But in most cases, the lyrics actually come first. I will say that, but with that song, we were sitting there and my producer started playing a guitar riff and I started humming it back to him. And I was like, yo, what if we go up right here, change this? And I started humming it back to him. And the reason me and him get along so well is he takes what I'm thinking and puts it perfectly on the string. So he started playing that and we actually developed that instrumental within 1 or 2 hours, just everything was flowing. And in this case, the instrumental came first, but that's a rare case.
Interesting. I was actually going to ask something kind of along those lines with your producer. You said bouncing off with him. Are you the type that prefers having someone to work off with versus just cramming in your room, just figuring out? How do you like to work when it comes to figuring out, your music?
Definitely the spark ignites by myself, whether I'm in the car, sitting, I'm literally, I showed you right here. I got the piano in front of me. I got my speakers next to me and my guitars are hung up on both sides right here. I think a lot of my music, the spark to the fire starts when I'm alone. And, being around other creative people is pouring gasoline on the fire. So I couldn't do it all alone. I wouldn't be a one-man band. I don't think any of the greatest people are ever a one-man show, you know what I mean? LeBron James has teammates, you know what I mean? So, I feel that spark comes from within me, and then I have such an amazing team around me that helps bring my dream to life.
You made the rough draft of the song. You finally got it down. What's the process then of finalizing it to make it a version that's good enough to actually put out publicly for people to listen to?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of trial and error, man. Everything else is just we'll record it, I'll hear it, and then once you kind of hear yourself back, you're okay, maybe I'll sing it differently. Or, you know what, maybe let's change the lyrics here. There's going to be certain parts that stick and resonate with you, and there's going to be other parts that you're going to want to change immediately. And, you get a few bounces back. I think that song had 4 or 5 different mixes on it before we went with a certain mix, and then we obviously mastered it. But I'm big into freestyling my lyrics. I started with rap and then moved into this space. So we were just freestyling stuff, seeing what worked and what, rolled off the tongue, what made the most sense. And then we kind of took what sounded the best and morphed it with the vision that we had started with. So we got this huge pit of what sounded good and what we wanted. And then, like we said, we just bounced around with the sound and then we mastered it and we're I think this is ready to go out.
For those that aren't as familiar with you, how would you describe yourself as an artist?
I would definitely say, I don't want to be cliche and say different, but I feel my music's going to be different because I'm trying to combine the two worlds of where a certain culture meets a new culture, where I think within myself, growing up where I did, my friends around me, although my dad was such a metal and alternative guitarist, I had that experience in the back of my head where I grew up listening to All Time Low, Green Day, the Foo Fighters, you know what I mean, the Killers. But I got all my friends we grew up with, Young Money, Drake, Lil Wayne, like all of them were rapping and stuff. So I felt like as a human, I possessed this like rapper charisma, kind of like Jack Harlow had. But you know, where my ears and my heart connected was with the stuff that my dad was making. So I feel like I'm gonna bring this like swagger of like a Lil Wayne or a Jack Harlow and put it on stage and perform more of like a Machine Gun Kelly. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be this punk with this like huge alternative music. I feel like I'm gonna be like this charismatic rapper who's singing to you in an alternative way. You know what I mean?
Would you say it's even fair then to put a label on artists these days?
Dude, everything is so genre bending. And I feel like we've had like the pioneers before us kind of establish themselves and what they are. And, you know, when they were doing that, they were different. They were the genre bending thing at that time. So I feel like you can't copy someone else's route. You can't be someone else because they already exist. So you kind of got to find like the loopholes in the industry and in the media and see what people are looking for. Or, you know, I like to pride myself and say, just be yourself. You know what I mean? If you're going to be authentic to yourself and you're unique and different, like you're going to stand out regardless. So I feel like the label thing, it's hard to label people because there's so much genre bending business going on.
What's the biggest compliment someone could give you on your music?
Best compliment. So, all right, I'm going to be honest. Hearing, you know, people be like, I really like this. You know, I'm a lyricist. So when people tell me like they like my lyrics, it's like it's huge and everything. You know, they like the sound. Whatever, like this reminds me of so-and-so. Dude, those are all amazing things. But the number one compliment I can receive is kind of a backhanded compliment. My favorite thing is, like I said, I have that culture where a lot of my friends grew up with the rap scene and like, you know, they're rappers and stuff like that. So when they listen to it and they're like, yo, this isn't really my style of music, but this is a dope ass song. You know what I mean? For them to recognize like, yo, I wouldn't like, this isn't my first choice of music. Like, this isn't what I normally listen to. But as an artist, as a song, as music goes, like this is an amazing song. Like that is the best compliment because now you're telling me like, oh, this isn't your go-to music, but you still like it. You know what I mean? So for me to like put a different taste in their mouth, you know what I mean? Like of music is just, I don't know. It's kind of a cool feeling.
Good. They're showing you respect at the end of the day. I'm gonna ask you the cliche question, but what's the timeline right now of just future music in the works for you?
Yeah, we've stepped back and really revamped the sound and do everything like, you know, 10 toes forward at 100%. So I want to say next music within the next like month or two. And it could be actually a lot sooner than that. But I have a few things lined up in a chronological order that I kind of want to release emotionally, like story, like a story timeline. Eventually I want to get into like an EP before the album because I think an EP is going to make the most sense and just get a few things off my chest before I do my debut project. Because I can't wait to announce that because, you know, that'll probably be within the next year. I'll put that out there right now, the project, because that big album is near and dear to my heart. There's a big message behind the title, behind the songs on it. So we kind of got a few things in recent history to focus on first. And then, you know, once that music gets out, the ball's going to be rolling and then the project will probably come out within the next year.
Well, people can follow your Instagram, TikTok, all that to probably keep updated with when that music's coming out for you, what you're doing. Right now, we're catching up with a lot of creators that are going to Playlist Live Orlando, just people that have been invited, and that's a big deal. It's probably VidCon's, you know, the biggest one people know, but I mean, neck and neck is Playlist Live as definitely one of the biggest social media conventions out there. So to get invited as a featured creator, what did that mean to you?
It was definitely big for me. I remember when I first started, you know, about two years ago, Playlist was, you know, the biggest thing at the time. People were going down to Orlando and, you know, this is right after I'm leaving college. I had a broken foot, so I wasn't going to do much walking and traveling. And, you know, I didn't have a big following at the time. I think I had like 60 or 70,000 followers on TikTok. So I wasn't really as known as I am now. And at the time, I just remember seeing everybody like collaborating, becoming friends with each other, networking. And I was like, dude, this is such a sick opportunity. You know, hopefully like my life's in a different spot next year. I don't have a broken foot. I can go.
Yeah. Probably first and foremost, not have the broken foot. I think that's a good start.
Exactly. And then, you know, it wasn't the broken foot, but I guess it was kind of the world's broken foot. COVID hit the next year. So I'm like, okay, I'm 0 for 2 right now. I really don't want to strike out. And I think we hit a home run by, you know, being invited to go down there. Because for me, it's like, you know, it's 2 years coming for me. And I looked up to people that were going down there. And I think just, you know, as a milestone in my life and my career as a creator, like, it's just something cool to be a part of. I love networking. I love talking to people. So to go down there, maybe have people come say hi, meet me. And then, you know, I love connecting with supporters. I love connecting with my friends. So I think it's just going to be like a dope event to be a part of.
Funny you bring that up though, because I was at Playlist Live 2020. That was probably the last normal thing I did before COVID hit. Like, if I think back, I was like, that event, and then like a week later, that's when like the world kind of started to shut down. So it's funny you bring that up.
world kind of went on lockdown, like almost weeks after that. So I just remember seeing everybody, like I saw something come up in my memories of my friend showing me that he was there and stuff like that. And I was like, it's so weird to see people without masks on at that time, because he showed me about like a year ago, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, a year ago today, we were at Playlist. And this is like the peak of the mask mandate. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't even like look real to see people without masks at the time, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I feel like it's cool to go down there now and, be a part of it and like just experience people for who they are and, link and meet as many people as I can.
You mentioned how much your popularity has grown in these last 2 years. It really has. You're kind of like all over in the social media space, including going through a very public relationship and a public breakup. I don't know if you had a previous relationship before Mads, but what was that like for you to go through just such a public relationship where people care when things are going good for you guys, when obviously you guys broke up recently, how that happened? Just what is that like to have so much attention and people caring about your relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a unique thing. I never thought that I would be dating in the public eye. I mean, a lot of people like to keep things private, and we tried as much as we could, but inevitably we put our relationship out there. So they were so kind enough to care about what we were doing in our lives. So we felt that it was necessary to share some of those, like, whether it was intimate things, whether they were, we kind of handled like some of the issues offline. Like in any relationship, there's going to be issues. That's, like I said, it's inevitable. But it's not as bad as people think. I think with the right amount of maturity, sensibility, and just communication, you can kind of get through anything, no matter how many people. I'd say, honestly, the hardest thing about it is dealing with the rumors like that. Because, like people see it and they jump from A to Z without caring about B through Y. And, just like sitting back and understanding that, like, a wise man once said, nothing at all. I don't really have to speak on it as long as God knows the truth and I do. So I think, she was an amazing person. I feel like I'm an amazing person. Just, right now for our careers, for the path that I'm trying to take, the path that she's trying to take. And even, just morally, some like the similarities and differences that we had, it just made the most sense to like part ways. We're both young. We have a lot to pursue right now. It was definitely a unique experience dating in the public eye, and I wouldn't trade it for the world because I learned so much about the media and myself, and how to, I feel like it's better to happen young than when I'm old. But like I said, very unique experience, and I wouldn't trade the experience. I'm happy it's shaped who I am today.
Last thing on that, I'm not here to harp on this because I know you're tired of talking about this stuff, but I mean, you mentioned the hardest part was dealing with rumors. Obviously, that thing when you went to go see Jaden's concert, like I guess recently after you guys broke up, was like a big thing, storyline wise. BFS Pod talked about it. I mean, what was that like to deal with, in your eyes, rumors, things that weren't necessarily true, that people were saying you're taking shots at Mads and all that stuff, just stuff that's out of your control? What was that like for you to handle?
Yeah, it was sad to see people jump to the conclusions. I mean, nobody knows the story as well as, we probably do. So I understand where they're coming from, but that was never my intention at all. When I saw Dave say something like that, it kind of like, saying like, oh, that's definitely a shot at Mads. Like, that's not what it was at all. Dave's actually from a town next to me. And, if I met him and talked to him, I think he'd understand my point of view a little more. But it wasn't a shot at all. Honestly, like I genuinely love being around music. I knew Landon was performing that night. Landon's awesome. Jaden's awesome. Christian Gates, I've been friends with him for 2 years. He was the headliner that night. I was going to see a lot of people. Slush Puppies was performing. Like it was super cool. Like I love being around music. Like I said, like we started this interview with, just being around music. My dad playing the guitar all the time. It's such a euphoric feeling. And I want to like clear that up. That was definitely not a shot at anybody. I can see why they misinterpreted that, but not at all. I was friends with Jaden before any of this happened. I actually hadn't been able to see him live at the time. And, I knew that he was going to be performing a song or two. So I was like, you know what, it'd be nice to not just go support him or Landon or anybody within that circle, but, Christian and Slush Puppies and like everybody, like Jaden, Landon, Christian, Slush, they're all cool people. And I was just there to be around the music, man. They're all amazing people, and I wish nobody nothing but the absolute best. There's no harm, no foul.
Would you go on BFS Pod if they invited you?
I don't think I have much to clear up because I know what my intentions are at the end of the day. And if people want to make assumptions, that's just a part of being in this, in the media. Like, you're going to have to deal with the bad, and you got to go through the bad to appreciate and value the highs. But, if I did get invited on, I'm sure there would be some things that maybe I want to talk about that they don't, or maybe some things that they want to talk about that I don't. So I guess it would just have to be like the perfect timing and like a mutual understanding, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. You know what I mean? So, it would just have to be a conversation between like my team and theirs. And if it made the most sense, why not? You know what I mean? Like I got nothing but, good intentions for those people. So yeah.
I mean, if it's mutually beneficial, then yeah, I see why not. We'll wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. Dream music collab, the first one that comes to mind.
Oh my goodness, dude, that's firing at me. You know what? I'm gonna go out there and I'm going to say All Time Low. I would love to have the band.
All Time Low. I like that answer.
Yeah, I want to be unique. I'll say All Time Low.
These are like half rapid fire, but just like half manifesting. So hopefully we can look back at this clip and maybe we'll have that collab happen for you. So who knows?
Exactly.
Favorite concert you've been to?
Oh, I'm gonna say Drake and Migos, because when Drake and Meek Mill had beef, they actually squashed it at the show in Boston.
You were at that one? Oh, shoot, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where he brought out Meek Mill and they performed Dreams and Nightmares. They gave each other a hug and they called off the beef. That was back when, back to back, that stuff. So that was definitely dope because that was such a unique experience for me to be a part of. But also Justin Bieber is the GOAT in my opinion. So I saw him perform in Atlanta and that was sick too.
Are you connected at all with Bieber? Like, I feel like a lot of social media people kind of know Bieber a little bit. I know obviously Hype House used to be at like his old mansion, I guess.
I've been in the same room as him. He actually bumped into me. Like we were walking and I was talking to Jack Harlow. Me and him were just having a conversation. He's like, hold up, I got to say hi to somebody. And I had this guy like bump into me and I turned around and it was Justin and like just walked by me because we were in a crowd. The fact that he bumped into me, I never get starstruck, being out here, like people are people, humans are humans, like you understand it. And I've never really been starstruck, but when that dude was like next to me, I was like, holy, like that is my childhood. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of Drew stuff behind me on my couch.
Oh, yeah.
I got the tattoo and stuff. So Bieber's definitely like my biggest inspiration. So I wouldn't say I'm connected to him by any means, but I've been in the same room as him and it was just like, it was a cool experience.
Another one, hopefully one day, you never know at the end of the day.
Oh, dude, that's the dream. That's the dream right there, that collab.
Favorite Boston sport athlete growing up?
Favorite Boston sports athlete? Ooh, okay. I'm going to put it out there and say Larry Bird.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's very contradicting because I'm a Lakers fan and I love Magic Johnson. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But growing up, I can't say anybody that I grew up watching because, like I said, there was other players that I was like heavily invested in, like Kobe Bryant, and you know what I mean? Like, but just growing up hearing the stories and I'm going back and watching certain highlights, and the respect that my parents and my grandparents had for Larry Bird, man, I gotta give it to Larry Bird.
My favorite Larry Bird stories is just hearing stories about how he would just tell a player, I'm gonna shoot the three in your face, turn around from the corner and hit it. So that's it's legendary stuff at the end of the day.
That's so cool. And like he went out there, I think he had like, there was one story, he scored like 50 points with his left hand only or something like that. Like that's disgusting. You know what I mean? That's crazy. So I got a lot of respect for Larry Bird.
Favorite TV show?
SpongeBob SquarePants. That's a no-brainer.
Is that still going on? Is SpongeBob still going on? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they just renewed a few seasons. I got a chance to go to the Viacom CBS studios and see like where this SpongeBob stuff was created. That was cool. I'm going to say the new seasons aren't as, nostalgic. They aren't as entertaining as the old ones were. But about like a week or two ago, I was watching the SpongeBob movie in my bedroom. I turned it on. I rented it on YouTube. I was like, this is it, man. So definitely SpongeBob.
Last one for you. 3 words to describe yourself.
Loving. That's going to be my first word, no doubt. I got that one tattooed on me. Cautious. I like to say that I think things through. Instead of cautious, let me do empathetic. I'll do empathetic. Because cautiously, that's why I'm cautious. I put myself in other people's shoes before I speak out or anything. So I'm going to say loving, empathetic, and I'm going to say confident. I feel like there's not people that can strip me of my confidence, and no matter what I do. So I'm going to say loving, empathetic, and confident.
All right, he is Sevryn. You can catch him in person at Playlist Live Orlando in the fall. And just follow his social media for his upcoming music. Musician, thanks so much for the time, man. We appreciate it, and we'll see you at Playlist.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you again.